In the early 1700s, the American colonies lived under the distant rule of Great Britain and King George III. Heavy taxes on everyday goods like tea and paper were imposed without representation in the Parliament. Rights felt stripped away, and tension simmered across the 13 colonies. But revolutions are always shaped by individuals forged in hardship. George Washington was born on February 22, 1732, in Westmoreland County, Virginia, to a modest plantation family. His father died when he was just 11, and young George received only basic schooling. Instead of formal education, he turned to the land. By his late teens, he became a surveyor, venturing into the rugged Virginian wilderness with a compass and chain, mapping frontiers, crossing rivers, and learning to endure harsh conditions. These early years built quiet resilience and deep knowledge of the terrain that would later prove vital. In 1754, at age 22, Washington stepped into the military service as a lieutenant colonel in the Virginia militia. Sent to the Ohio Valley to challenge French claims, he led a small force into the first skirmish at Jumonville Glen. Soon after, his men built a makeshift Fort Necessity in the Pennsylvanian wilderness. There, outnumbered and caught in pouring rain, Washington was forced to surrender, the only time in life he would capitulate an army. The incident helped ignite the French and the Indian War. Despite defeats and the sting of being treated as a lesser officer by British regulars, Washington gained hard-earned experience fighting alongside them in brutal campaigns. Including the disastrous Battle of the Monongahela. He witnessed the inequality firsthand. Colonial soldiers risked everything but received little respect or rank. That lesson lingered. But in 1775, after Lexington and Concord, the colonies stood on the brink of open rebellion. The Continental Congress chose this battle-tested Virginian to command the new Continental Army. Washington accepted without pay, knowing the odds were daunting. An untrained force of farmers and volunteers up against the world's most powerful empire.
The fight for independence did not begin with unity. Loyalists remained faithful to the king, while patriots risked everything for self-governance. The Continental Army reflected that they were short on supplies, training, and experience. Washington's purpose went beyond battles. He aimed to forge a fighting force and a shared cause for ordinary citizens, proving that people could govern themselves. He led by presence and example, sharing the same hardships as his men. He was not alone. Young Alexander Hamilton served as his aide-de-camp, drafting critical orders and maintaining communication under pressure. The Marquis de Lafayette, a French noble inspired by liberty, crossed the ocean to join the cause and help secure French aid. And Baron von Steuben, a Prussian veteran, arrived to drill the troops relentlessly, teaching European-style formations, marching, and discipline. Through retreats after early losses, such as the fall of New York, Washington preserved his army rather than risk total destruction. His strategic patience and ability to adapt kept the revolution alive when defeat seemed certain. Opposing them stood King George III and the might of the British Empire. To many colonists, he embodied tyranny. He firmly backed Parliament's right to tax and governed the colonies without their consent, rejected repeated petitions for reconciliation, and vowed to crush the rebellion. With overwhelming force, his unyielding stance, viewing the colonists as disobedient subjects rather than equals, helped turn political grievances into full-scale war. Yet, Washington rose to meet this challenge with extraordinary leadership qualities that seemed almost superhuman in their effect. He combined strategic vision with moral courage, knowing that when to retreat, and preserved his army rather than seek glory in doomed battles. He inspired loyalty through quiet endurance and personal example, holding together a ragtag force that constantly faced desertion, starvation, and despair. His boldness and improvisation and his unbreakable commitment to the cause often turned potential disaster into renewed hope.
The largest battle of the Revolutionary War came in August 1776 at the Battle of Long Island. British forces, vastly superior in numbers and led by General Howe, quickly overwhelmed the Americans. Washington's army suffered heavy losses and were trapped against the East River. Defeat seemed inevitable. But in a masterful nighttime maneuver, under the cover of fog and darkness, Washington organized a silent evacuation across the river to Manhattan. By morning, the entire army had escaped without detection. This tactical retreat saved the Continental Army from destruction and kept the revolution alive and kicking. However, just months later came Washington's greatest defeat, one of the lowest moments of the war, the fall of Fort Washington. On November 16, 1776, nearly 8,000 British forces attacked the last American stronghold in Manhattan, defended by 3,000 troops. After heavy fighting, the garrison finally surrendered. Almost 2,800 Americans were taken prisoner, one of the worst losses of the war, along with many supplies and cannons. The defeat shattered morale, caused mass desertions, and forced Washington's army into a desperate retreat across New Jersey into Pennsylvania. The revolution stood on the edge of total collapse. Washington's leadership shone through bold, heroic actions in the war's darkest hours. In December 1776, with enlistments expiring and morale collapsing, he orchestrated a daring gamble. On a freezing Christmas night, he led about 2,400 men across the ice-choked river into a howling storm. At dawn, they surprised the British forces at the Battle of Trenton. The quick victory was small, but electrifying. It restored hope and proved the Continental Army could still strike. A follow-up success at Princeton days later further boosted the cause. The following winter, at Valley Forge, tested everything. Extreme cold, hunger, and disease claimed over 2,000 lives. Washington stayed with his men, enduring the same suffering and preventing desertion. With von Steuben's training, the army emerged more disciplined and unified than ever before. By 1781, the opportunity had arrived. With crucial French troops and naval support, Washington coordinated a masterful campaign. At the siege of Yorktown in Virginia, American and French forces trapped British General Cornwallis on land, while a French fleet blocked escape by sea. Surrounded, the British surrendered on October 19, 1781, effectively ending the Revolutionary War once and for all. After victory, Washington held unmatched power. Some urged him to become king. Some wanted him to lead forever. Instead, in 1783, he voluntarily resigned his commission before Congress and returned to a private life at Mount Vernon. This selfless act shocked the world and set a powerful precedent. In the new nation, authority would rest with the people, not one man.